What's up, everybody? Welcome to Wealth Over Fame, where the hustle meets the grind and the playbook isn't just on the court. I'm your host, Whitney, the real estate game changer. And if you're ready for your VIP pass to the world of sports and real estate, let's get it. What's up, everybody? It's Whitney, the real estate game changer, here on Wealth Over Fame, and we are here with Bethany Roeder.
Hello.
So, Bethany, tell us a little bit about yourself. What drew you into mortgage lending?
So I started out as a credit repair consultant. I did that for about 10 years, and most of my clients wanted to get a mortgage after they repaired their credit. And I just found it an easy avenue. They already trust me because they know that I got their credit score up. And it was just an easy transition from my clients who at one point was not pre-approved for a home to easily get pre-approved. So it just made it easier.
By being on both sides of the ball like that, credit and mortgage lending, you're able to look at somebody's credit and tell them almost exactly what needs to happen in order to get approved.
Absolutely. Especially those people that come to me and say, I've done credit repair before. What can I do? I mean, I can almost look at you and look at somebody's credit report and tell what needs to be done.
And what's been going on.
Yes. It doesn't take me much at all. 2 seconds is all I need to look at the credit report.
I had a client tell me, I took my course for real estate. I know what I'm doing. I was like, okay, let's sit down and look over this contract real fast.
You know what you tell them? Like, when you're done, come back. Just when you're done playing.
Oh, no, they're actually my client.
They're your client now.
They're my client right now.
That's tough.
But, but I did instruct them on, how to prepare for the real estate exam and things like that, because they took their hours or whatever. Yeah. But I was like, yeah, you got a long ways to go in this field. But
they know. They
know what they know what they talk about. So as a mortgage lender, what motivates you to continue working in the profession? And is there a particular aspect of your job that you find most fulfilling?
The troubleshooting part, believe it or not, is the most fulfilling, because a lot of people get stumped as they're going through the process. It's something that stops them. And it's my job to figure out, how can we get this loan processed? Right. And because I'm a mortgage broker, I have a ton of different loan options for these people. I have a client right now who actually is having a hard time getting approved with other lenders. She came to me and we're getting her approved. It's a different type of loan, but we're having no problems getting her approved. So it's just the trial and error it takes to get them through.
Hopefully my client, we talk behind the scenes, but hopefully my client listen and I can send you over my client soon and, get her going. But can you share any insight on the highs and lows that you experience as a mortgage broker and a credit repair expert? What's some of the challenges you face on a day-to-day?
The main challenge, especially in the credit world, we know that it takes money to fix your credit. It's not going to be free. And a lot of times these people have gotten into these situations because they did not have the money. So with that being said, if it takes money to fix your credit, but you got in this situation because you didn't have the money, it's like, how can I get out of it?
Right.
And at that point, we have to come up with a small savings plan. And as they start to save, then we can tackle those accounts that's on their credit. On the mortgage side, it's pretty much the same, but it's more on the down payment and closing end. They may have the down payment, but they don't have the closing funds. Right. So with those different programs, we can cover either your down payment or your closing cost and get them across that finish line.
Okay. So what's your percentage rate in conversion from credit repair to mortgage loan?
So I'm going to have to say 50-50. I'm going to be completely honest.
50-50?
I'm going to have to be completely honest, because credit repair is not just on me.
Right.
I can clean up somebody's credit, but if they're late on a credit card because I can't make that payment for them,
right,
there's 50 to 60 points gone at that point.
And you ain't trying to call nobody every week like, hey, did you pay your credit note?
No, I do though.
But you do.
But I do, because my name is on the line. And most people get a lot of bad rep because the client will miss that credit card, and for some reason it's our fault.
Right.
So if I don't call, Bethany didn't do what she was supposed to do.
Anytime something go wrong, it's your fault.
It's my fault all the time. You should know that, being in real estate.
Yeah. The house went off the market, so I told you to do. Right. I told you let's put in an offer. There was nothing I could do about it. You wanted to wait, but hey. So with the credit and the real estate, do you let's say here, what is a part of successful mortgage lending and credit repair? In your opinion, what's some of the successful parts, or like what's some of the success you've seen in this?
So the biggest thing is actually, again, helping people with their down payment. There are many different ways, because that's the credit part, and the finances are the biggest issues you run into when you're trying to obtain a mortgage. You might have the money for down payment and closing. However, now they're asking about reserves. You need 3 months reserves. Right. Do you have that extra savings? And some people don't have it. They just have what they have.
And trying to explain, like I had a client, and why they need to see it in the bank account? And I'm like, because they want to know, if you lose your job tomorrow, can you pay this mortgage? That is why for the next 3 months. Yeah. So that's why they need to see it. I had a client tell me like, I got all this cash. And I was like, well, we need you to put it in the bank. Well, I got to pay taxes over anything over $10,000.
So you need to slightly do it. Put 1,000 here today, 2,000 tomorrow. Don't just put it all in there at the same time. But it has to go in there.
But they try to stay under the radar a little bit. But I was just like, open another bank account.
Yeah.
Open another bank account.
But we got to see it. We can't take what we call mattress money, okay? We cannot use the mattress money.
I love mattress money. So I work with sports and entertainers who have NIL deals, sponsorship deals, and endorsements for many different companies. What are some tips that you can give people listening, like what steps they take to prepare themselves for applying for a mortgage loan and also getting ready to get credit going?
So once you enter college, and everybody that has gone, they know they have these days where there are vendors out there, and there are people out there throwing credit cards at college students.
Yes.
Here's a credit card. Just put your name right here. You get $300. Well, you kind of got to watch out for those people, because those are the people that you'll see in your credit 3 or 4 years later that are in collections, because we don't know how to pay them. We don't know when to pay them. We don't have no job to pay them.
Right.
And so that's how we kind of get those collections starting to build as we get into college. So one of the things that I can't stress enough would be to keep your credit clean. You don't need that $300 credit card.
Right.
You don't need it. You don't need...
Or if you got a car or something, get you like a gas card or something like that.
Initially, I would stay away from all of that. All credit cards in college, stay away from them. And let me tell you why. How are we going to pay them back?
Well, some college students are like, when I was in college, I worked. I flipped cars.
But the thing is it's variable income.
Right. Okay, so we're talking about NIL college students. Now, they're making thousands, millions of dollars on a day in, day out basis. So how much is credit?
The one thing that credit does not care about is how much money you got. They care more about consistency. So you can have $1 million, but if you're not consistent on paying your credit card on time, it don't matter how much money you got.
So if a college kid, let's say, we'll talk about Bronny James real quick over at USC, he receives almost $6 million in endorsements. So a kid like that, he's in his sophomore year of college. He wants to start buying real estate. How much does his credit matter?
It matters a lot if he don't want to use his own money, or if he wants to use minimal. Because, he may have that much money, but the idea of pretty much you want to leverage somebody else's money. You don't necessarily want to use your own. So even with him, as a down payment, he could put down as little as 3%.
Right.
You can do this in the house hacking. Okay. He's a college student. I'm sure he has college homeboys that could room with him. Buy a multifamily. Rent out the other 3 units. Live in one.
I keep trying to tell y'all this, but y'all not listening to me. So I hope y'all listen to her. I keep trying to tell y'all, house hacking is a way to really start going in real estate investment. Even if like it's a thing where like the parents, if you got a kid going to college, you can add the college kid to the loan and start building their credit and things like that. So elaborate on that a little bit.
So I think you were talking about the authorized user account. So if your parent has one good credit card that has probably been open 5 to 7 years, it's not maxed out, there are no late payments, you can get on that credit card immediately. And within 2 weeks to 30 days, your credit score will shoot up.
No,
I'm sorry.
So like if, say you got a kid going to college, right? And they're going away to, let's say, U of H, TSU, and there's a house over there for sale. You buy it because you want somewhere for your kid to stay. You don't want your kid on campus. Can't you put that 18-year-old on that mortgage loan as well and help?
You can. That's a lot of responsibility on their credit. That's a big account on their credit, but you absolutely can.
Okay.
You want to keep a minimum. You don't want a really thick credit profile. So to start out at 18, some people already have student loans as students.
Right.
So they're already building a really, really huge credit profile because we get probably 15, 20 student loans at a time.
Right.
So to add a mortgage on into that can be, it can help and it can have the reverse effect.
So we athletes, we got scholarships, so we don't got student loans. So could that be a good way to start building their credit?
It could.
If the parent is paying the mortgage and everything on time.
It could, yes. I think the biggest thing that I would worry about is, of course, the parent is paying it. So whatever the parent does, it's going to translate onto the student, on the child. So I don't ever really recommend putting on somebody of that age to a huge account like that.
Okay.
If they have a credit card, I would recommend that because their credit will boost faster on that credit card than it would be put on an installment loan, which is a mortgage.
Well, the parent can still buy the house and the student can do some house hacking out that house and rent out the rooms.
The student could as well.
It's different ways, to make money in real estate, but I was just trying to see like if that was a place for somebody.
It can be. It absolutely can be. It's just the way that it's set up. I would kind of watch that.
So, in college, college students barely have a credit profile. They really don't have income or anything like that. So what are some obstacles a college student will face when it comes to the credit score, the income, and things like that, trying to get a mortgage loan?
So it depends on how you want to go about it. If you want to go straight for an investment, we have a loan out there called a DSCR loan. It's an investor's loan. You don't need any income docs. As long as the mortgage, as long as the rent that you will get from that property covers the mortgage, they'll give you the loan.
So if I have a monthly mortgage of $2,200 and the rent rate in that area is $2,400, we qualify.
Automatically.
Guys.
Automatically.
Let's say it one more time. If the rent rate is if the mortgage is $2,300 and the rent rate in the area, and in this economy, it's hard to find rent under $2,000. So if you have a mortgage loan of $2,300 and your rent is $2,400, you qualify for that loan. What are the other bases to that?
Some other things, because we're talking NIL, we're talking these deals, we're talking people, students getting paid big bucks of money. You do need to have a down payment of 15 to 25%.
Okay.
So that is, if you decide that you want one of these properties that qualify, you can do it under a house hacking thing as well. As long as you have 15 to 25%, you're good to go. Sometimes they want reserves, but a lot of people don't. I'm a mortgage broker, so I deal with a lot of different banks that have a lot of different qualifications.
Right, so you got a lot of flexibility on your side.
Absolutely.
Told y'all, get with her. Get with me and I'll get you with her. You know how it goes. For college students interested in investing, what are some common problems that may encounter on how they overcome them? So like, I'm about to graduate college and I want to buy a house. What is something I can do? I'm just not graduating and I ain't been working that long. I'm about to start my first job. What do I do?
So believe it or not, as mortgage lenders, we can use the last 2 years of your transcript to qualify you as work history. So in place of you not working 2 years because you were in school 2 years prior, we can use that instead. You would need what's called an offer letter from whatever job that is in order to qualify you. So if you're making $37 an hour or your salary's 80, 90 grand a year, we will qualify you off of that 80 to 90 grand a year without any work history, just your schooling.
So it's been said that if you make under 100,000 in this market, you really can't afford to buy a house.
I disagree.
Okay.
You can afford to buy. I think the biggest thing is Instagram makes it seem like if we're not buying $1 million house,
right,
we don't want it. We ain't buying it. We don't want it. And that's not true.
And I try to tell people, don't let Instagram fool you. Like, you do not have to get a new construction house. You don't have to build. There's inventory out here. Some of these resales who have been remodeled are a lot bigger. They have larger backyards because these new builds are giving you about that much yard. And you know, we're building up now instead of out. So the older houses give you a lot more space, bigger backyards. So if you're like family oriented, you might really want to look into resales, because I try to tell them like, don't let Instagram fool you. Like,
and I think the biggest thing about it is, you know, most people want a new construction because they feel like nobody's ever lived in it. But you have a lot more flexibility in a resale. You have a lot more seller credit that you can get in a resale.
And for me, like, sometimes a resale it seems better because like somebody actually lived here. Like, we have a seller's disclosure with known issues. We know what is and what's not. With new builds, you just don't know. You the experiment. So like, and I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not deterring anybody from, you know, getting a new build or anything. Shout out to all my builders.
Right.
You know,
absolutely. Because I work with them too.
Shout out to all my builders. But I just want to let y'all know that, like, we see the glam. Yeah, we see the glam, but resales, it's a lot of hidden gems out here.
Yeah, I think everybody wants their dream home, their first home. And that's hardly ever the case. Yeah. It's hardly ever the case. Well, most people think that in buying a house is not an investment. Believe it or not, you're starting a business. Because whatever it is that you get from that house, when you sell it, you're going to buy another one. And from those proceeds, which is your business, you're going to be able to afford something bigger. Whether you rent that out or sell it, you will then start to go into your dream homes.
Right. So, and
your forever home.
I was able to get that over to I got this one client, and she's looking to buy. And when we first started looking, she's like, nope. And I was taking her to resales because of her budget. She's like, no. Is this all I can afford? And things like that. I said, so this doesn't have to be your forever home. Like, right now, you're shopping for kids and everything else. Once the kids are gone, you're going to be shopping for a different type of lifestyle. So, like, I put it to him like that. So, like, your first house it won't be your last house. Hopefully, you get another one and then you start investing. My hopes for you, because you'll call me back. But yeah, so I just try to tell them, like, your first house won't be your last house. You have some investment.
I did flips. I do a lot of flips.
So tell us a little bit about your flipping experience.
So we started with a hard money loan. I do offer those as well. And with those hard money loans pretty much comes draws. So they don't give you, say it costs 80 grand for your rehab budget. They don't give you the 80 grand up front. They may give you 5,000 or 10,000 initially to start. Right. And then once work has been done, they'll give you some more money. So they will cover the rehab budget for you.
Because it's more like, so one hard money lender told me, like, well, we put the money in escrow and then you use it as needed, but you have to submit receipts and everything like that.
Some people submit receipts. Some people take photos of what work has been done. And they submit the photos, and then there's some more money that's dispersed.
On a hard money loan, what's normally like a down payment for a hard money?
So I have a lender that will do them with no experience. You can do 10% down. Your credit score, we're not pulling. They just need to make sure the deal makes sense. So if there's enough money for you to make some money and there's enough money for them to make it, they don't care about your experience. If you could never have flipped a home in your life, they don't care what your credit score is. They're not going to even pull it. And it's 10% down of the total budget.
So if you got the 10% down, you got a good plan in place, more than likely you'll qualify for it.
More than likely. Yep.
So it's not as hard as people make it seem to be. They just got to be willing to do the work.
It's not hard at all. But what people are scared of is that interest rate.
Well,
So the interest rate, the idea is to be done within 4 to 6 weeks, right? If you're done before the 4 weeks and it's sold miraculously, it sells within that month, then you don't have any payments because it's an interest only payment.
so are we locked in? Can you refinance a hard money loan? Or
the idea is to refinance. Hard money loans are going to be short-term loans.
Okay.
You got 6 months, you have 12 months, you have 18, and some have 24 months. But 24 is the max, and you have to refinance out of it. It's really just to cover those homes that need work and they're unlivable. And you don't want to come out of your own pocket for the funds to do it.
So basically, you find a distressed home that you're interested in, you think you can bring value or add to your portfolio. Mm-hmm. You go get a hard money loan, you get the 10% down, 10 to 20% down?
Normally 10 to 13.
10 to 13% down. And then you want to, what they want to do after they get the 10% down?
Pretty much start flipping. I mean, once they make the 10% down of the total budget, we can go ahead and get the process going. You get under contract, you close, and now the disbursements come.
Does the house have to have certain qualifications in order for it to qualify?
The ARV has to be good enough for the lender to say, okay.
Tell the people what an ARV is, please.
It's the after resale value. You want to make sure when the house sells, it makes money.
So we call it the after repair value.
Okay.
So after all the repairs are done and we about to put it on the market, what is the profit that's coming after? That's what
that is. What it is. Yes.
So I want. What is ARV? What is ARV? What are they talking about real fast? So what are like some alternative financing options available for college students who may not have strong credit, strong credit history? Mom and daddy could have put the light bill in their name or something and messed it up a little bit. So they got credit history, but it's not strong.
Okay. You would want to go more with the primary residence. Again, you can do this in the house hacking as well. So you're probably going to be looking more for an FHA because the credit score goes as low as a 580. Some at 500, depending on what lenders are out there. Now, when you do get to that 580 mark, your down payment may go up a little bit.
Right.
Okay. So you may go from 3.5% to 10% down, but you can still qualify with the lower credit score.
So we got the lower credit score. Like you said, we can always refinance once we get in. But say we like, okay, well, I want to get my credit right. Mm-hmm. What are some things? How can you tell a NIL college student how to start building their credit score and put them in a position for real estate investment?
The easiest and the quickest way to do it is to be an authorized user. That's going to be the easiest way. So if you have a family friend, there are some businesses out there that offer authorized user accounts that you can pay for. They're like $200-$300 to put on an account. And what that does is within 30 days, 2 weeks to 30 days, your credit score can go from 0 to 700.
Okay.
And you can immediately apply then. A lot of times those people would want, or lenders would want you to have 2 years worth of credit history. So make sure whatever authorized user account you're on is definitely past 2 years.
So parents, college athletes, friends, family, everybody, if you're looking to help somebody build their credit, that's a college athlete, don't have to be a college athlete, your high school kids or however it may be, that authorized user is very, very useful to helping them build stable credit.
My biggest tip with that is you want to do that right before you buy, probably 30 to 60 days before you buy something to make sure it hits their account. You don't want to do it if they're 18 and they don't plan on buying nothing until 21, just wait until they're 21 because there's no telling what life happens between that time. Because COVID hit, nobody knew. We started missing credit card payments. We started missing all these. And once you start missing those credit card payments, that will affect your child.
So one thing I think the pandemic taught everybody, I don't care what your age limit was, no matter the situation, life don't stop. Bills gonna keep coming. Things gonna keep adding up. So we always want to put ourselves in a good financial position so where we have that cushion to maintain if anything happens. That's why I encourage NIL athletes to start investing because we never know what's going to happen. when pandemic hit, wasn't no basketball, wasn't no football, wasn't
Nothing.
none of that. So if you're not playing this and you're not able to make the money that you're making, then you need to start building a financial cushion. And by me being a former college athlete, I know that transition from being a college athlete and transitioning into what we call the real world and how financially that can be so stressful.
Yep.
So if they start building cushions now, start investing now, because to me, investments are just like savings accounts that you can't really touch.
I tell people that all the time. When they buy a house, I'm like, listen, just think of transferring your 401k to a different type of account because that's what you're doing.
And you can live in it.
Yeah. you can see it every day. You see your money every day.
So what are some specific financial habits students, anybody, can start using or adapting during their years to build a strong foundation for real estate investment in the future?
So the biggest habit is probably going to be savings. Because regardless of what you do, I don't care how many people tell you that you can buy a house with no money. I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think they're saying, let me clarify what they're saying. I think that they're saying, hey, save some money, okay? Right. But you might not need it.
Right.
Okay, but that doesn't mean don't save it.
We still need to save some money.
It doesn't mean don't save it. That means we're going to work our hardest. The real estate agent, the mortgage lender, we're going to work our hardest to get you in this property with little to no money.
Right.
That don't mean you don't need it. Okay, just save.
So TikTok, it was this girl on TikTok. Now, Harris County has this not a voucher program, but first-time homebuyers program where, you know, they are building these houses in different types of communities, and you go through your housing class, your 8-hour class, but you still got to get approved by a bank. You still got to get qualified for a loan, but they give you up to like I think like $50,000. So if somebody took it upon themselves, a realtor took it upon themselves to go on TikTok and say, hey, we can get you in a house for $250 and that's it. So I have clients who are in the program.
Me too.
So they're calling me like, oh, they said we need $250. So I literally had to reach out, and I actually hosted a seminar with the lady from the program so she can explain. You cannot get into a house for $250. Your inspection is more than $250. So let's kill that myth right there for that program. It's a great program. But no, you're going to need more than $250 to get into a house. House.
There are upfront costs to real estate. There's inspection. There's the appraisal.
There's homeowners insurance.
There's a lot of upfront.
HOA transfer fees.
You are in Houston. There is a flood zone.
Right.
And what most people don't understand about this flood zone is when you're buying a house, that premium has to be paid up front. Just like your appraisal.
So if you're in a flood zone, the insurance premium has to be paid up front for what, a year, right?
Yes, for the entire year. So that could be $2,000-$3,000 extra dollars
that you ain't even thought about spending.
Exactly.
Also, like with the roof, if the roof is not, if it's not within a certain time frame, if it hasn't been installed within 5-7 years,
I think it's 7 or something.
7 years. 7 years
for the insurance.
It's hard to get insurance with that. So when you going out looking for a house, there's a lot of things you want to consider when you're going out shopping. That's why we all work together to, you know, make sure it's a positive buy for our clients. Going to the next question. Considering the unique financial circumstances of NIL students, what are some creative ways they can begin saving? Seems like the same question I just asked. So, what other budgeting? What are some tips? Like, we all know about the 80-20 rule. What are some other type rules that we can use?
There are a lot of different budgeting techniques, and they're all different. I know y'all don't even want to hear my favorite because it's the one that I use. I have an account for almost every expense. So when I get my check, everything does this. And so I have what's called Bethany Flex spending. That's where I can flex on them. I can spend whatever I want off this card, right? I do have my personal savings. I have a business savings. I have a business account. Now, this may be a lot for some people, but what it does is it'll allow me to know what I have to spend.
So and if what I'm going you can and cannot do.
But it also helps me save because I don't have a card to my savings. So if I need to dip into that, I have to go way 20, 30 minutes away to go to that bank to pull that money. I'm not doing that. So that money just stays there. Right. So there's just different techniques and you have to be disciplined. So whatever it is, the 80-20, if it's whatever kind of plan that you on, you have to be disciplined to do it. Because if you're not, none of it will work.
No, we can throw as many plans out there. Discipline is key. That's another one that's preached a lot. Because if you don't have the discipline to complete the task, well, I want y'all to, I don't know if y'all caught it, but the key was her savings does not have a bank card to it. So I think that is a good strategy for within itself to not have a bank card to your strategy to make it as less accessible as possible in order for saving. So I do think that is a great, but her strategy allows you to see exactly where your money is going, exactly what you can afford and what you cannot afford. That might not be for everybody, but there are thousands of budgeting and planning tips out here. The 80-20 is the most used or most talked about one, where 80% goes towards your bills and savings and and expenses, and then the 20% goes into savings.
Yeah, I think I tried that, and then I got caught up on, paying the bills. Like I would go spend, and then whatever I did not spend, I'm gonna go pay the bills. So that's my bills go to a completely different account. Because I need to make sure that that's covered. I need to make sure my mortgage is covered. I need to make sure my savings is covered. Everything else,
it goes where it goes.
Goes where it goes.
That's kind of dope though. Like you probably bank with a lot of banks at that.
I do. I have probably, I want to say 6, and then I have a rainy day fund.
And that tells you. What's the saying? Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Absolutely.
So it's very beneficial to have more than one bank account. We talk about savings, having it in multiple different accounts, savings accounts that acquire that get interest. So those are the bank accounts that you want to look into putting your money in, whether it's savings or just rainy day funds or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's pretty dope. What are some like you do investments? So we got college athletes they got their school schedule, they got their sports schedule. Investments are time consuming. So
they are.
What are some tips in managing time that you can also give them?
Depending on what you're trying to do, because, there are different businesses that you can do outside of or within investing. Right. So Airbnb, your short-term rentals, your long-term rentals. There's a couple of different things that you're trying to do. If you're on more of the short-term rental Airbnb style, you might want to find a manager. A property manager, because you're going to find yourself in and out of that as much as as much as possible, trying to clean it, trying to make sure it's still, there are not no holes in the walls, just making sure it's structurally sound.
Because it's a hands-on business, but with the money that they're making, they have the power to delegate to individuals to make sure the property is maintained.
Exactly.
It's one more question I had. It just really slipped my mind about investing with college students. So the ones that I do talk to, I tell them, like, if you really want to try your hand at investing on a safer tip, not so hands-on, I tell them to look into REITs, the real estate investment trust. So do you have any experience with
Actually, I don't. Okay. I've heard a lot of people, say good things about it, but I haven't tried my hand at it. So it would be hard for me to speak on that one.
Okay.
Because I'm not too knowledgeable about the whole process and how it works. So,
well, it's just, investing in major corporations who own real estate investments. But to my athletes or anybody out there listening, REITs are, to me, is something that's minimum. Now, mind you, everything comes with a risk, but it's minimum hands-on work. So I do think that, like, if they want to just test their hand at investing, because we talking about you can invest in a REITs for like a couple of $100
and then get a return on that.
And get a return on that. So I think that's just something that I would suggest people who want to try it.
Yeah. I think when it comes to investing, I will say this. Investing is not what you think, okay? For people that are looking to invest in a real estate property or into real estate, your return is not going to be fast. Your flips, even if you do a flip, they, sometimes those are a lot of work. But even the right flips sometimes can go wrong a little bit and you don't make as much. So a lot of times when you're investing long term, you might be putting out 50, 60 grand.
Right.
To only get $2,200 a month. And it may take time to make that 50, 60 grand back, then make a profit, because real estate is a long-term game.
Yeah.
It's a long-term game.
And Instagram made everything instant gratification. And it's ridiculous. But real estate is it's a long-term game. It's not something that you get an instant return on. So, yeah, it go against the grain of what everybody's being taught right now, like instant gratification, instant results, which I do think is kind of negative because nothing good happens overnight.
Yeah. But investing as young as we're talking about in 20, 21 years old, buying real estate then, you can only imagine 5, 6 years after that, what that property is going to be worth. Exactly. And to keep it another 10, 20 years, what it'll be worth. And then it's paid off at 30 years. Now everything is profit. So you can do HELOCs, you can do cash outs, you can do whatever you want to leverage that property. You can pull money out of that house to start a new business. There's just a lot you can do when you pretty much own that property.
Or get another investment property.
Buy another investment
property.
There's
a lot of things you could do with leveraging in a house. So is it, that's all I got for you today. Is there anything you want to tell the people where to find you at, how to contact you?
Yeah, so you can contact me again. My name is Bethany Roeder. I am really into my email, so you can send me an email at
that is still the number one way of communication in business. So don't knock emails.
Initially emails are the best because I'm on my phone all the time.
Right.
But my email is broden@grovescapital.com. Instagram is b.thee.mlo. So B, the mortgage loan originator. You can follow me there. I do tips and tricks on credit. I do hacks on investing and real estate. So if you need any tips, shoot me a DM. I'm here to answer all your questions.
All right. So that's a wrap for today's episode of Wealth Over Fame. If you like what you heard, click the subscribe button below. And the game is so not told. Y'all stay hustling.
That's cute.